Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. You're watching WION World is One. My name is Priyanka Sharma. Staying with the story that WION has been tracking, an air crash in India earlier today has left the entire nation shocked and saddened. India's Chief of Defence Staff, General Bipin Rawat, has died in an air crash in the southern Indian state of Tamil Nadu. General Bipin Rawat, his wife, Madhulika Rawat, and 11 other personnel perished in this crash. The sole survivor of the crash is Group Captain Varun Singh, who is currently in a hospital. The Indian Air Force Mi-17V5 chopper crashed near Coonoor. The cause of the crash is still not known. An inquiry has been ordered to ascertain the cause of the accident. At 11:47 a.m. IST, the helicopter departed from the Coonoor base in Tamil Nadu, and 33 minutes later, the chopper caught fire and crashed. The chopper was only 10 kilometers away from its arrival point, that is the Wellington Defence Staff College, which is also in the same southern Indian state. Locals rushed to the spot and tried to control the blaze, and then at around 2:30 p.m. IST, which is nearly 90 minutes after the crash, the blaze was doused. The President of India, Ram Nath Kovind, offered his condolences to the bereaved families. Paying a tribute to General Bipin Rawat, President Kovind said that India has lost one of its bravest sons. He added that 4 decades of selfless service of General Rawat to the motherland was marked by exceptional gallantry and heroism. The Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi also paid a tribute in a tweet. The Prime Minister said, and I quote, "General Bipin Rawat was an outstanding soldier, a true patriot. He greatly contributed to modernizing our armed forces and security apparatus. His insights and perspectives on strategic matters were exceptional. His passing away has saddened me deeply." Prime Minister Modi added that as India's first CDS, General Rawat worked on diverse aspects relating to our armed forces, including defense reforms. He brought with him a rich experience of serving in the army. India will never forget his exceptional service. Meanwhile, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh also offered condolences. He said that General Rawat's untimely death is an irreparable loss to our armed forces as well as the country. Now, joining us now for more on this tragic piece of news is our principal diplomatic correspondent, Siddhant Sibil. Siddhant, thanks for joining us. You have been tracking this story closely. Tell us a little bit about the significance of the role of CDS that General Bipin Rawat, of course, carried to the fullest, and the challenges ahead.
Well, when it comes to General Bipin Rawat, he was someone who was the architect of the reforms in the defense forces, in the services. He, of course, commanded a lot of respect and has, of course, a checkered career in terms of various reputation, especially when it comes to the north and northeast of India. But essentially, what has happened today is very tragic. It is as tragic as it can get, and of course nation is in a state of shock. We have seen comments coming by the top political leadership, including by the Indian Prime Minister, but also comments coming from across the world as well. In fact, a short while ago, the President of Maldives has tweeted condoling the loss, and of course the Foreign Minister and the Defence Minister of Maldives have also condoled. In fact, the Pakistani establishment has also reacted with a tweet over this tragic development. But his loss is something that cannot be ever fulfilled. The challenges, of course, are in terms of taking the reforms forward. We know that the CCS is meeting, and there can be an official statement in the aftermath of the meeting as to what transpired. But we can expect some kind of announcement as well in coming few days as to who will be the next CDS of the country. We also know that when it comes to rituals and ceremonies, there are discussions going on. His mortal remains His wife's mortal remains will be brought to Delhi tomorrow. The Indian Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will be making a statement in the Parliament tomorrow on detailing what happened, the details of this unfortunate incident, the crash that happened today in the southern state of Tamil Nadu. We know that in the past, when it comes to issues concerning India's security, he has been talking about it, even areas which were no-go areas like talking to Taliban.
Right, absolutely. Siddhant, just telling our viewers a little bit more about the legacy that General Bipin Rawat leaves behind. Of course, he was, as a CDS, he was the one-point contact or the one military advisor to the Indian government. Perhaps you could elaborate more on this.
Well, yes, he was someone who was trusted by the Indian Prime Minister a lot. He was someone who briefed the Indian Prime Minister over the security challenges that had developed over past few years, especially when it comes to situations related to China and Pakistan. He talked about the two-front war internally also. We talked about the security situation, especially in Jammu and Kashmir. So he was someone who was always on board in crucial security related issues and policy matters, and that is why his loss is something that cannot be fulfilled. His loss is something that will be something that will be a great loss to the Indian defence establishment, and of course his name will be written in golden letters when it comes to Indian defence history.
Absolutely, Siddhant. Before we wrap up our discussion, any personal anecdotes or memories of interactions that you may have had with the late General Bipin Rawat?
Well, there is a whole host of such interactions with him. He was a person who was exuberating a lot of positive energy. That is something I can talk about. I can talk about various small anecdotes. His meeting with him in sidelines of various events. The last such meeting was at the Navy Chief's house, Navy Chief's residence, just over the weekend, where the Navy Day celebrations were taking place, where the chief guest was the Indian President. In the past, of course, at the briefings, the briefing when he was the army chief, the annual briefing, after the briefing, he used to meet the media personnel, talk on various issues about the challenges India faces in terms of security, how to go forward when it comes to dealing with these challenges, and what he thinks about what should be the right way forward in terms of dealing with these challenges.
Right, Siddhant, thanks for these inputs. Stay with us on this broadcast. We'd like to tell our viewers, of course, about the legacy and the illustrious career that General Bipin Rawat leaves behind. Now, let's tell you a little bit more. Bipin Rawat was India's first Chief of Defence Staff. It is a position to make India's entire military power work as one force. One of the biggest security reforms by the Indian government, led by Prime Minister Modi. The post was a long-standing demand of the Indian strategic community. It is a demand which first surfaced during the Kargil War. During 1999, the Indian response to Pakistan was marginally hampered by the lack of coordination among the services, and there was a need for a post that would then help the armed services execute joint operations efficiently. The CDS functions as a single-point advisor to the government on matters related to the military. The CDS is the first among equals with respect to the three service chiefs. While the CDS is the principal military advisor to the Defence Minister on all tri-services matters, he does not exercise military command over the three service chiefs. All four-star officers themselves who retain the operational command of their respective forces. The focus remains on better synergy between the Indian Army, the Indian Air Force and the Indian Navy. All major countries, especially the nuclear weapon states, have a CDS. In Italy, the post was created way back in 1925. In France, it's known as the Chief of Staff of the Armies, a position created in the year 1948. In China, the Chief of General Staff was first appointed in 1946. In Canada, the Chief of Defence Staff is the second most senior member of the Canadian Armed Forces. And in Japan, the Chief of Joint Staff is the highest ranking military officer. Now, staying with this story, our principal diplomatic correspondent, Siddhant Sibil, is still with us on this broadcast from New Delhi. Siddhant, thanks for staying on. Now, tell us a little bit more about the questions being raised about the inquiry to probe the cause of this unfortunate accident. What can we expect on that front?
Well, we can expect some kind of announcements in a few days or perhaps few weeks over what exactly happened, the reason behind this unfortunate incident. And of course, we know that the Indian Air Force was quick to announce that inquiry has been announced over this tragic incident. But tributes continue to pour in. Just a short while ago, I've seen that the profile picture of the Israeli envoy, he has changed it to the picture of General Bipin Rawat. Now that is a tribute that shows that how he touched a vast segment of the society, whether it's the media, whether it's the diplomats with whom he had a close rapport, whether it's the foreign leadership as well, because tributes continue to flow in not only in the country but from outside the country. As we spoke, how the Maldivian leadership, right from the president to the defense minister to the foreign minister, have reacted. There are more reactions pouring in even as we speak, and tomorrow we can expect some kind of elaborate ceremony as his mortal remains along with his wife arrives here in the national capital, Delhi.
Absolutely. Siddhant, staying with the story, can you give us any more clarity about the findings of the investigation or even the high-level meeting that is currently underway led by the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi? What can we expect on that front?
Well, all day long, there were rounds and rounds of meetings that happened here in Delhi and elsewhere as well, especially in the southern Indian state of Tamil Nadu. We know the CCS, the top security committee meeting is taking place, chaired by the Indian Prime Minister, in which top ministers, the finance minister, the foreign minister, the home minister and the defense minister, including the NSA, also present in that meeting. We can expect some kind of statement by the Indian government over that important meeting. But CCS is a meeting that does not takes place almost every day. This is a meeting that takes place only in the aftermath of major incidents or something that the country faces in terms of a grave situation. Last time, as we have been talking about, the meeting took place in the aftermath of the fall of Kabul to Taliban. Now again this meeting is taking place, but we can expect next 48 hours or 24 hours very important.
WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.